Good morning, guys. Happy Thursday. I hope everyone is doing well. It is the 31st of July, officially the last day of July, which is crazy because obviously time seems to be going faster and faster. Obviously, midway through July, midway through 2025, which is just absolutely nuts. But welcome back to this daily market outlook. I hope everyone's having an amazing week so far. We've got some interesting, things to cover today, and we'll obviously do this on the daily market outlook. But before we do that, I just want you guys to understand that the content on this channel is for educational purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing shared in my videos should be considered financial investment or even trading advice. Trading and investing always involves risk, and you should always conduct your own research before making any financial decisions. Understand that any past performance discussed does not guarantee future results, and you are always responsible for your own financial decisions. So, with that being said, let me make sure that I am sharing my screen correctly. Boom. Okay, amazing. Because if you guys tuned in yesterday, you'll know that I basically did 45 minutes covering the charts and I was on the wrong screen. So I don't want to make that mistake again. But going into today, obviously yesterday, so should we actually talk about quickly? We obviously had obviously heavy news yesterday. So as you guys can see, we had that news that we were talking about going into today. We still got some sort of heavy news for the US dollar as well. Unemployment claims is at 230. So that's something to keep an eye on going into today for sure. But let's get into the charts and see what is going on. So, as always, we're going to start off with a dollar. I don't really need to explain too much in regards to what's going on. We have officially now broken, this range that we was in. So we are now back into an uptrend. So we've got this as our daily higher low, and then basically this as our daily higher high. So finally broke that trend, finally in a uptrend right now. We've got a new range that we can obviously keep an eye on. If we jump to the 4, what we can see is we're extremely trendy, as you guys can see. Yes, we do have obviously daily demand areas and multiple different demand areas on the 4 hour below, but obviously right now we're nowhere near that. So we just follow the trend that's going on. And we keep it simple. You guys know that we really do keep this smart money concept simple because most people just overcomplicate it and they just make it so much more harder than what it should be. But you guys can see we've had this uptrend as we're speaking, a little mini pullback here, higher high, higher low. And then we're in this 4 hour range as we speak. So the 4 hour range is currently from this low to the current high as of right now. Let's make this blue, just so something different. And you can see that that is our 4 hour range. If it was to come down, of course, this would be our 4 hour demand area, where we would want to obviously see the market, tap into, see a reaction, and then we obviously participate. But as of right now, and we do have imbalance, but as of right now, if we drop to the 1, you'll be able to see that we are currently reacting from the 1 hour range. Now, this 1 hour range, hopefully you guys have been tuning in for a long time, can easily spot this. You guys can see, one second. You guys can see this range very, very clear. Now that is my 1 hour, so let's make that red. And you can see 1 hour higher, higher high, 1 hour higher low, 1 hour higher high. Imbalance institutional candle. We've come in, obviously taps into this demand candle, filled in an imbalance, and now we're getting that movement away. So very simple as of right now. We're not interested in anything apart from longing, from here on the dollar, unless we obviously break this low here, which we would have to be patient with. But again, all go in this area as we speak. Now that leads me on to Euro USD. And if we quickly just go to the daily time frame, you can see that the market is, definitely broken this previous higher low, or was going to be a higher low, but we didn't create a higher high. And now we've obviously had that change of trend from uptrend to downtrend. So as of right now, we have a big, large daily range. But we don't need to worry about that until we obviously have a change of trend in the 4 hour. So yes, we have this daily supply zone, but as of right now, we're not interested in that because we are melting away. Now, just pulling away from the charts, you can see that we have a lot to aim for. Now, what I mean by that is we have a lot of lows that we can take, which is obviously liquidity. We can take a lot of these lows that we have, as you guys can see, which is areas that we can target if the market does just melt away from here. We can obviously take out the lows of this. So that's going to be interesting to obviously keep an eye on. Going into the 4 hour, what can we see? My ear needs to pop. Going into the 4 hour, what can we see? We can see the trend pretty clear. Let's just mark this out. We have this 4 hour range as of right now. You can see that, let's just do it from here. We have obviously this pullback, lower low, lower high, lower low from the 4. Very simple, very easy. Let's make these blue just to make it a little bit easier for you guys. So we have this blue, meaning the 4 hour, and yes, we do have this 4 hour range here, 4 hour supply candle, all this imbalance. Yes, we have this that we could use as liquidity as well, but understand that, I don't know why that's there, but understand that what we have to keep an eye on right now is the fact that you can see this little trap candle here. This is a 1 hour trend that we're currently in. Now, as you guys can currently see, the market on the 1 hour is we've obviously had, this melt away, lower low, lower high, lower low. Very simple, easy to understand, and that's exactly where we're getting that movement away as we speak from this 4 hour candle, 4 hour trap candle inside of, that's the 8 hour one sec, inside of this 4 hour range, which is here. So again, as of right now, all we're interested in, I hate this sometimes, all we're interested in is looking to short this, unless of course we get a break above, and then we can wait for this area to give us some sort of reaction from. Easy, simple to understand, hopefully for you guys. Let me just quickly drop to the 115. And as you guys can see, the perfect reaction that we'd be waiting for is an engulfing candle here, which you can see engulfed here, and then obviously had a mini pullback. If we go to the 15, it might be a little bit more clearer. You can see there, we had that 30-minute engulfing candle, pull back into this imbalance, and obviously that's where we're getting that movement away currently. So clean, 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 clean. GU, very, very similar, as you guys can see. I'm not going to go to the higher time frames because it's the same scenario. You can see that we have, in fact, let's just go to the 4, and we can obviously just, see what's going on. You can see here, lower low, lower high. We obviously have a lower low, lower high, lower low. So our 4 hour range is from this lower high to this lower low. Very simple to understand and see. So let's map that out. So that's our range from the 4. We have a 4 hour fresh for our supply area with imbalance, but as we can see, we don't need to worry about that as of right now because we're in this 1 hour range here. This is our 1 hour range just here. So again, unless we break that, we're not interested in that 4 hour supply zone. So as you guys can see, the 1 hour, same scenario, lower low, lower high, lower low, come back in, tapped into the supply, and now we're moving away. If we can look, let's see, we can, well, look, straight away we can see that we have this engulfing candle here, which would be a great indication that we obviously can enter this trade. And obviously same here, we come in, engulfing candle, and obviously that means that you can, participate in this trade. That gives you that extra confirmation when you get that reaction from that zone. So clean. Let's have a look at AU. Pardon me, AU and NU. I think I say this quite a lot. I much prefer the way that like GU, EU especially, but GU, EU, USD CAD, USD CHF. I prefer the way that they move than the likes of like AU and NU. AU and NU kind of like to liquidate before as well as mitigate, if that makes sense. And I'll show you why. But yeah, you guys can see, let's make this blue. That's our 4 hour range. I'm pretty sure you can see the trend that's going on, that we're having lower high, lower low. If we look on the half of the time frame, cut it down again, you can see that obviously we've broken above this supply area here, taken out the high, as you can see. So that wouldn't be, enough for me to obviously participate in. And that's why I would not be interested, because this is giving us a different indication. This is telling us more so in the 1 hour that, of course, that is more closer to a 1 hour change of trend, which, we could obviously say that's a 1 hour change of trend. But if you look at the US dollar, we've not broken this higher low. So, I'm going to follow the dollar as always, because the dollar has the most liquid inside of the markets. So I'm not interested in anything from shorting. Obviously, if you do follow the dollar, what I'll be waiting for, as you guys probably just heard me, is a reaction. But there's nothing really that I would be looking to sell from in here. I'd be waiting more for the four. So yeah, that is it for AU. Pretty sure NU, yeah, will be the exact same. We have this 4 hour range from this lower high to this lower low. Obviously, we have plenty of areas that we could, target, including all these lows here. Let's just mark that out. Plenty of, trend line lows that we can obviously target here. To take out. We've already took out this low, and we could be taking out this low next. But as you guys can come to see, this would be my 4 hour supply area, which I'll be waiting for. If we cut down to the 2 or the 1, it's the same scenario with AU, where it's broken above this 1 hour, structure to fill in this imbalance just above here. So, we're reacting more so on AU and NU from the imbalance that was left here. But you guys know me, I like to have a supply zone with an imbalance below, and obviously vice versa will be demand zone with an imbalance above, which will give me extra confidence. But yeah, obviously, as you can see, we tapped into that imbalance. What is going on right now is we've had this engulfing candle here. We've had a great reaction, and that's why the market is moving away. We've not really had a pullback into, why we should be looking to short. We've not really had that pullback into like a 1 hour range. So yeah, we kind of just entered, engulfed, and now we're moving away. So, obviously, if the dollar's going to carry on upwards, which hopefully it does, what I'd be waiting for, there we go. What I'd be waiting for is, maybe can we see a mini pullback into this to fill in the imbalance and then target a low? That could be a great scenario. We have obviously, this imbalance here, whilst we also have this, small 1 hour supply area as well. So yeah, that could be something that maybe someone wants to target. Same with AUD USD. Can we look for an entry on a pullback to then short this? That would be something that you guys could look out for. But yeah, that's pretty much it for AU. NU, going into USD CAD, just missed my entry in regards to the demand, but it was a perfect reaction from this supply. This is what I've just been saying about, I like to have an imbalance above a demand, or an imbalance below a supply area. That's something that I need 100% to see in order for me to participate. Even if the dollar's doing what I want the dollar to do. Let me just let my dog up. Ugh. So as you guys can clearly see, if you just follow the trend of the four, pretty easy to understand. This blue line here is the 4 hour trend. Higher high, higher low, higher high. But inside of that internal trend, we have this 1 hour trend as well, which would be this 1 hour, higher low. Let's make that red again. And all what's happened, if you follow the 1 hour, and again, you guys should know, if you plug into me, you should always know what I talk about is, we obviously, as you guys can see, that's what's going on. You guys should know what we wait for. It's pretty simple. If we have a 4 hour range, let's say if this is the 4 hour range, inside of the 4 hour, we usually have, 1 hour structure. Now, you guys have to understand, let's make this red. I always talk about this. Yes, we're going to have a 4 hour demand area, potentially with, hopefully my dog's not doing some weird stuff in the background, hopefully with some imbalance above, right? So we know this, and we want to see this obviously met. But what you have to understand is we follow the internal structure before anything. So if the 1 hour has a fresh, demand area, that's the one that we focus on. That's the one that we focus on. first. And that's something that you guys have to maybe get used to. Let's just make it more so like here. But that's the one that we have to focus on first, unless we get the change of trend. If we break this low, now we've gone from 1 hour uptrend to 1 hour downtrend, and then that's when we can keep an eye on this area, and that'll be our next zone. See if we can get a reaction, and then try and participate in this 4 hour demand area. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, clean as a whistle. Let's see if we can see any sort of indications as to why I would get in. No, not really from the yeah, the 5 minute would have given me the reason to get in. The 5 minute would have given me this reason. It was aligned with the dollar, but this institutional candle here would have been the reason I would have got in. This candle here. Let's just make, no, we can keep that color. This candle here. Why? It's not as clear as, or it might be a bit on the 10. Yeah, 10 minute might be a bit cleaner. So as soon as this engulfing candle happened, that would have allowed me to either enter from the top, wait for a 50% pullback, or enter from this demand zone. And then obviously you could have caught a nice clean, if it would have been from the top, stops at the low, you currently look like a 1 to 2, 2 point something. If you would have done 50% of this, you would have done a 1 to 3. If you would have waited for this around a 1 to 5. So clean, very, very clean, nice engulfing candle, pull back into that trade. But yeah, that's nice to obviously see. Same with USD CHF. We've had, a perfect reaction so far. If we just go to the 4 hour, you can see that our 4 hour range is from this red line, which I will change to blue to keep in alignment. This is our higher high here. This is our higher high. So that's our 4 hour range. But internally, you guys can see this little trap area here. If we cut down to the 1, you can see that the internal structure is what we got to focus on, which is higher high, higher low, higher high. What do we expect? Pullback, demand area, imbalance, and then go. And that's exactly what has happened. So as you guys can see, that's where we're reacting from right now. We're not interested in this demand area until obviously we have this 1 hour change of trend from here. So we're looking at this currently. What can we see? Was there any entries at all? Straight away, I can see we tapped into this. Sorry, I can hear my dog. Tapped into this demand area. We had this engulfing candle, and that would have been enough for me to participate in this trade. 30-minute and 15-minute, pretty clear. You guys hopefully can see on here. That would have been the area that I would have looked out for as we speak, and it would have been currently sat in. Obviously, would have stops at the low. Would have been sat in, not too much profit, but profit is profit. Once we broke that high, go to break even. So, that's obviously a nice sign, but also just understand that, I'm talking, this is before New York session. So this is London session. Something might change going into, obviously the news that we have later on. So just understand this is what I'm analyzing right now is the market's live, right now live. And this is what's making sense. We can talk about zones like this, but if we're nowhere near it, what's the point? So if you guys are in my Telegram, you'll be able to know that I am currently in this trade, USD Japanese yen. It was my favorite setup that we had. I'm going to cover why. Again, we have this daily range. Let me just get rid of it. This our higher low, this our higher high here. We broke this high. We reacted from this demand area, which you guys should be able to see here. So again, drop to the 4. What can we see? Well, pretty easy to understand that this area here, let me just make it blue. This is our 4 hour range. It was from this high at the time. Let's make this blue as well so you can see. It was at this high to this low. We have this 4 hour demand area. We could use these as liquidity. But because I understand multi-time frame structure, you can see that I knew that what I was looking for is, can I see any internal structure? Well, yeah, I can see that we have higher high, higher low, higher high. So with that being said, what can I expect to happen? Well, what I could expect to happen is a retracement, and then we obviously, if it's in alignment with the dollar, we can look for buys. Now, of course, some people might be panicking and going, "Oh, I won't take that because there's imbalance here and there's a 4 hour demand." Yes, of course, I get that, but again, we always got to relay back to this scenario I just showed you guys, wherever it may be. I think it was on, and was it on this? Was it AU? Was it USD card? There we go. This scenario here, we have to relay back to this. Let's go back to the one. We have to always go back to this scenario here. And it's the same from vice versa. Always go back to this scenario. So USD Japanese yen, we have, of course, you guys can cover this whole body, which would be perfect as well. I just covered the wick because look, if we cut down the time frame in half, it is more of a 30-minute, 15-minute demand area. And yeah, man, all I was waiting for is I was waiting for these, reactions, and I was waiting to see some sort of like engulfing candle, which, on the 15-minute it gave me, which was this engulfing candle here. And all you had to do is I got in early. I'll be truthful, I got in a lot earlier than I should have, but that's because I have stuff to do. And I was confident with the trade. I got in just as it had a little pullback into around this area here. I don't know why that is. I got into around 1 second. We had a mini pullback. It must be around this area here. We had a little bit of drawdown, but where the preferred entry was, and also the reason I got in, I'll explain. But the preferred entry was, would have been this here. And why would it have been this? Well, let's just reverse back to here. Why do you think that would have been a perfect entry? Well, it would have been a perfect entry because this is a 50-minute demand area. We have also this imbalance that we have created above. So of course, you can enter from the close of the candle, enter from maybe the 50% of this candle, or you can enter from here. So again, whatever suits you, whatever you guys do um, in your own trading plan, do that. But as you guys can see, let's just mark this out. What am I doing? As you guys can see, let's just mark this out and you can see how it reacted from this demand area. Stop loss at the low. Give yourself some wiggle room if you need. Oh, for fuck's sake. Play this ahead. Boom. And we're currently sat around the 1 to 6 it was. So yeah, clean as a whistle, as they say. So what am I expecting is I just want this to carry on because I'm in it and you guys should know, but we have broken above. If we look at the 4, we have 3 hours, sorry, we've just broken this high. So we have a new range now, which would be from, let's just mark this out. This is a 4-hour break. So we have a new range. Let's delete this. From this higher low to the higher high where we're currently at. Let me just get rid of this because it's peeing me off. The current high where I'm at. So naturally, 4-hour demand is obviously huge. That would be our 4-hour demand area. So what I would do is I would, 1 second, what is this doing, man? This is pissing me off anyway. But I would cut down the time frame and I'd be looking more so towards like this 1-hour area here. I don't know why it's not letting me do this, but yeah, you guys will know what I'm talking about. So yeah, pretty clean, pretty easy to understand. Obviously, for my selfish ways, I don't want it to come back because I just want to chill, man, and make some money and go and lie on a beach. But yeah, man, that is it for today. I hope you guys, as always, got for some reason as well, I'm like sinking in this chair, so I need to sit up. But hopefully you guys got some knowledge from this. As always, I just want to bring you guys as much free knowledge as possible. But again, look, working on a one-to-one basis with myself is a lot different to these as well. Like I love to, obviously mentor a lot of you guys. If you're obviously willing, if you are, drop me a message on Instagram, drop a comment below, or you can fill out my form that's in my bio. But other than that, guys, I just realized I was talking to this camera and not this camera. I appreciate every single individual as always. Take care. God bless.